Okay. Mics are on.
Mics are on.
I'm checking the levels. Our one viewer, that's probably Brian. What's up, Brian? Okay. Dr. Jeff Deibel. Thanks for being here, man. Your first guest of the official show launch of this show.
I'm honored. I mean, I did what I had to do. I grew the mustache and everything.
Yeah, right on. Let me ask you about that, man. What is it like being so good looking and having such an amazing mustache?
I mean, as I said earlier, I'm just trying to keep up with you, man. I don't know. I've gone through various phases of facial hair, you know.
Yeah.
They've all.
It's also the glasses.
Yeah.
It's the well coiffed hair that you have. I don't know, man. You're on a whole other level.
I mean, thanks, Dad. I guess I would say. You know, he had great hair, so I guess I inherited that from him. Yeah, but yeah, it's the mustache thing. I tried it a couple times and I could never kind of get behind it, and then I tried it again this past summer, and I left a little kind of scruffiness. And I was like, all right, I think this is actually might be working. You know, so that was the direction I went.
Yeah, right on. You know what people don't talk about when they talk about facial hair choices?
What's that?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, Nick, the sound wasn't on earlier because we were just chatting about the show ahead of time. I need to get a new screen that still says, you know, like waiting, right?
Mm.
But thanks for the text. Back to mustaches.
Yes.
You know what people don't talk about enough is the ends. Like you go a little bit down below the corners of the lip.
Yep.
I think that's like the main difference.
And I think that's what, you know, pushed me over the mountaintop. I was like,
right, exactly. Yeah. Right. That was an innovation that you came up with that really fit your face.
Yeah.
I think if I did that, it would look maybe a little bit too Jethro Tull.
Maybe. But your hair's a little longer, so.
Yeah. Okay. So. Cool. Hey, let's start out with some just like real simple questions. Sure. What is your job here at Florida State? What do you do here?
I am one of two saxophone professors here. We have David Detweiler, who is our jazz saxophone professor, and I am what is commonly referred to as a classical saxophone professor. Although I would argue, as one of my mentors has argued, that the classical saxophone doesn't actually exist. So I don't know what to call us, just saxophone or composed music saxophonist or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Composed music saxophonist. So that's one of the threads that I wanted to talk to you about today is whether or not classical saxophone is a real thing. Mm-hmm. And you know, you talked about your colleague over on the jazz side. It seems like there's saxophone in the jazz world, and ostensibly there's saxophone in the quote unquote classical world, but a lot of people don't even think that you belong in the orchestra.
Right. And one of my students was on the first, I think, iteration of the College of Music hot takes, and he was the very first one. He said, hot take is that the saxophone belongs in the orchestra.
Okay, yeah.
Which I would agree with, actually. But the reason I say it's maybe not a thing, a classical saxophone is not, because it's not that we don't play music that is considered classical or concert music or, you know, non-improvised, non-jazz music, but we don't have that, one could say either the baggage of, or one could say also the tradition of playing those, you know, famous classical composers. You know, we came after most of that had happened, you know, like middle of the, you know, Romantic period is when the instrument was invented. So
one of the things I've noticed about your career and looking at your bio is you're really into new music. But it almost seems like you're forced to be into new music when you're a saxophonist.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of the things I try to talk to my students about is how vast the modern era of music has been. I don't think it's almost impossible to comprehend, you know, and it's also like the first time that we had, I mean, you could argue, I guess, against this, but at least within that genre, large genre of quote unquote classical music, is the first time we had multiple styles of music coexisting at the same time. Styles that sounded really out in front, avant-garde, crazy, you know, and also very traditional styles. And that's still the case today. So, I mean, yeah, we all play new music as saxophonists, but there's many, many different kinds of new music for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And try to put a time span on what new music is. Like, is it just going to go back to the 19th century? No, come on.
Well, I mean, when people trace modernism back, they sometimes will talk about Debussy, and they'll talk about, you know, the Rite of Spring premiere. You know, those are like not at the same time, right? They're a little bit earlier. One is than the other. And we also argue about what is this terminology, new music, contemporary music, composed music, avant-garde music. I mean, the more I kind of have thought about it, the less interested I am in trying to pin it down, like what is the correct term to use. So I don't know. I just like, let's say just music. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. What's the best part about your job?
Oh, for sure, working with my students. Yeah. I mean, to get them to find out really who they are through their ability to express, themselves through this instrument. I mean, this is the vehicle for them to do this, right? But they could have chosen anything. They could have chosen kazoo, but they chose saxophone. And it's great because saxophone is such a versatile instrument. It can play, within the, wide swath of music that is considered non-jazz or composed music. There's all kinds of stuff that they can play really effectively, and they can still, improvise and play jazz music as well. So it's just, it's wide open as to what direction they want to go. And so I've got some students that are playing a lot of all of the above. I've got some students that really enjoy the more traditional stuff. I really, enjoy teaching it all because I love it all. I mean, not all, but I like all the different, possibilities that the instrument affords us.
So what is joyful about you talking to your students about that range? Like, I mean, I know we're supposed to say like, oh, the students teaching the undergrads is what, and, honestly, like, same here, but that's sort of the party line, but there's gotta be a reason beyond that. I mean, maybe it's because you like mentorship, but what is it about like the saxophone and getting into these distinctions that you were trying to make a moment ago that is joyful for you?
One of the big things is just developing a sense of agency, in the students, like them understanding that this is not just a machine that they're operating. I mean, that's part of it, but it is also a way to literally find their voice, and the control that they have, and the fact that they can use it to do so many different things. I've been out on the road actually a bunch in this first couple weeks of school, and we've done some classes, some discussions with different sets of students, and I tell them I've been playing in some strange instrument combinations that you don't usually see, and I say, we're just starting a band here. What's the big deal? So like we can really use this instrument to do like any number of different things, and so that possibility is like the agency thing is one big thing, and then the other thing that I really enjoy is just getting them to understand the why behind what it is they're doing, and how they can really connect with audiences, and finding that link, that maybe exists within the music when it's really good music. I think it's there, and it's up to them to understand, like, how to exploit that in their performance, and make that connection with the audience.
So there's something about, comprehensive musicianship that it's not just the technical fluency on the instrument, but it's understanding, connecting to the audience, but also connecting to yourself. It's not just the repertoire; it's how you as an individual connect to it.
Oh yeah. I mean, Nadia Boulanger, great composer from France who taught everybody, like including Quincy Jones, and Aaron Copland and George Gershwin and so many amazing other composers from the 20th century. I've got a quote of hers up on the wall that says, it's about actually technical proficiency, but she's basically saying without this profound technical efficiency, you will not be able to express what you feel most innately and most deeply, So the technical aspect of it is just one. It's like the starting point, So that's tough because, over in Europe, students come into the academy much earlier, 14, 16 sometimes, and they have a much more evolved sense of technical fluency. I'm not sure they may be somewhat more evolved musical like idea of what they want to do, but we're trying to get them to be technically proficient so that then they can really get to the heart of what music is all about, So,
yeah. Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You grew up in DC.
Yeah, outside DC. Yep.
That's awesome. Where outside DC?
Well, I was born in DC, and then I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Okay, right on. My grandmother's from Silver Spring.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I spent many a summer there. My mom is from Hyattsville.
Okay, yeah.
But then, when my grandmother, got some other house, it was in Silver Spring. Yeah.
Right. I knew you had the Maryland connection. somehow, or we talked about it.
Yeah,
at some
we did.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's from Maryland.
Very cool.
Hey, Mom. I want to play for you this first track that you selected, and then we can like talk about it for a hot second.
Oh yeah.
All right. Tell me about your life growing up in DC. That song, that was "Attitude" by Bad Brains. I think it was recorded in '81, released in '82, off the album called "Attitude." That is like a kind of foundational album in hardcore.
Oh yeah.
And DC is a foundational place for hardcore.
Indeed.
How does this relate to little Geoffrey growing up?
Not very much. I didn't really get into that music until quite a bit later. I grew up in a suburban landscape, and I started listening to the radio at some point. Maybe late elementary school and then middle school, and then I started to. I was just talking with a friend about this. I started to have a couple friends that were, I never had cable growing up, actually. So I didn't have Headbangers Ball, which is how a lot of young people
I had it.
acquainted with that type of music. And so I had a couple friends that were starting to get into some different stuff. My first CD that I bought was like Achtung Baby by U2. Then I bought Nevermind. And, so that was, that was one thing. And
1991 was so intense for music.
Yeah. And then I had some friends, that were listening to some different stuff. Like the first heavy album that I remember getting was, or heavier album was Pantera's first album, which is called Cowboys from Hell, which is still really, I think, an incredible album. I can't think of another album that sounds quite like that one. And then I had this friend in school who would wear these band T-shirts. And at first it was like, Pearl Jam and Nirvana. Then it was Cannibal Corpse and Deicide, and I was like, what is that all about? And then I don't know how I got my hands on it, but I picked up, I think, a zine of like some metal zine or something like that, because I started listening to a little bit of metal. And then on the back cover there was an ad for this distribution company called Relapse Records, which is this big metal distributor in Pennsylvania, and they were advertising these 4 albums, one by Meshuggah, who you probably know. Do you know Meshuggah?
I know the name. Yeah.
And then 3 other ones by these other metal bands that I think one of them is still around. And so I ordered all 4 of them. And I also got, along with that order, their full catalog, which was like thousands of recordings with like a 1 or 2 sentence description of whatever it was. And I was just like, this is like a whole new world opening up to me. I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. So I just started ordering like what I thought sounded interesting. This is like pre-internet, right?
Yeah.
And then, so I was listening to that stuff for a while, like a lot of death metal, black metal, and stuff like that. And then I went to my first hardcore show, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of similar, but more groovy, much more fun. These kids know how to dress, and they're really nice. And I found kind of like a home, like, sort of part of my life was spent then in that sort of like zone, that friend group. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
well, you said that a moment ago that it had little to do with your little Geoffrey growing up, but apparently that's not true.
Well, I mean, it was just one of those things that I did, and I always felt. I was actually talking about this with a student yesterday who's also into some heavy music, and I said, I always felt like I was a bit like I was leading a double life, because here I was doing this nerdy saxophone thing, trying out for Allstate and stuff like that. And then I would go to these like hardcore matinee shows on the weekends,
Yeah.
And so I always felt like, where is it that I belong here? I don't really know.
So let's follow that thread, and it's almost as though you're looking at the outline that I have here.
Okay.
There, in paying attention to the music that you selected for today, genre-wise, it's all over the place. But as I think about how you, as a young person that's coming of age through the music education system, would you say that I guess you did say that there was a split between the kind of music that you were thinking about and going to shows with your friends, right? Your social group was oriented around this kind of music. And then maybe you had another social group, but but certainly it was at school.
Definitely.
Those two things were separate.
Pretty much.
How was that for you to reconcile those two things?
I just kind of thought, this is just something I like to do. I knew that no one at school was like I mean, there was one person that I had gone to school with. We ended up going to different high schools, and she's the one that actually took me to the first show that I went to, where I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool." And yeah, just like then I got to know more people at the shows, and they were, scattered around the county, and maybe some lived in DC, some lived in Baltimore and stuff like that. And I didn't really see them that often except for shows, because I had this, most of my life was, just being a suburban kid, like in school. So, but yeah, I definitely thought about like, okay, well, I don't, sometimes I felt like, okay, maybe I don't belong here. Like I'm not really, but I think most of those kids were probably coming out of the same background, or relatively, middle class, upper middle class background or whatever. Some, maybe from the city or whatever, but I don't know. I just kind of was doing it, and I wasn't thinking about it that much.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. Okay. So then now you go into university, you start studying this kind of nerdy instrument band, you're not like a metal kid at a show. You're learning classical saxophone.
Right.
But here's some of the music. Here's another example of music that you selected for today.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking metal, man.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Oh, right on cue.
Yeah.
Do you see an aesthetic connection between these things?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I told the same student I was just mentioning, I said the same thing. You could take a lot from this other music that you're listening to. Like, and I had someone else, my partner asked me, it came up last night because I was telling her about my day. And she's like, never really understood. Like, I've met people that are into this kind of music, and you, like everyone else, has kind of defied my expectations of what people that like this music are like. And I was like, well, yeah. And then so we started talking about like, well, what is music? What constitutes legitimate music? And yeah, I think that there's so many similarities between these different genres. You can get something out of most there's only a few that I'm just like, yeah, I really can't get anything out of that. I don't know. So yeah, for sure. Totally metal that piece.
Can we try something?
Okay.
Can we go to the boards?
We can.
Okay. Before we do that, we should let our audience know that Jeff is actually a talented DJ.
Oh God. Set me up for failure.
Yeah, he's well, I should say this. Jeff is an experienced DJ if experience is measured by decades.
That's fair.
Yeah. You picked up turntables in college. You've been doing it casually for just a really long time, right?
Yeah.
But he's a vinyl guy because he was coming about it when vinyl was kind of the only thing, right? CDJs came out shortly thereafter, and now we're on to DDJs.
Right.
So this is a new vehicle, even though you've thought about DJing and you've done it for a bit. But I don't know if you've ever DJ'd this stuff. So if you want to kind of, if you want to step up here.
All right. I should leave my headphones on, or?
Yeah. Leave the headphones on. There's not a way to really do this so that you can have your cueing while also having your your headphone. Right, you would have to have two sets of headphones.
Might be a problem, but okay.
Cool. So let's see. We got both. We got both camera angles going on here. Okay, so on the left deck we have Bad Brains.
Okay.
In the right deck we have Liggity.
Oh God.
Here's how these decks work, man. You press Shift Q to go back to the beginning. Boop. So I just went back to the beginning of that one. And you could similarly do Shift Q on that left one there to bring you back to the beginning of Bad Brains. As you're thinking about, I mean, first of all, beat matching this stuff, it's like, what the heck do you even do?
Right.
Like it's not all beat gridded out all that well to begin with. How would you think about blending these two tunes? We've already drawn a connection, right? If one of the things that DJs can do is they can bring two sonically disparate articles of music together in a way that creates something new for their audience. You are a very musical person. How would you broach this task?
Well, I probably wouldn't start with these two tracks, but that's a good question. I think what you're looking, I mean, normally when you're looking for DJing, things that will blend well or things that will work well together, you're looking for something that will sound natural over the original thing. You want it to sound like it could have been originally part of the song, the first song.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true for club stuff.
Yeah.
But I tune into some DJ streams, man, and they're getting up to all sorts of weird stuff. You know, so let's be a little bit more, I don't know, like avant-garde about this.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little out of the game for sure because I don't have the time to spend keeping up with stuff. So but I mean, you know, I think of like, I guess the most interesting thing, but it still sounds like it could fit. It would be like, you know, Kid Koala and, you know, the stuff that he does, but this is definitely outside of that. That realm of things. So I have no idea. I would just have to listen, basically, I think.
All right, let's try this. Let's start with the piano concerto here on the right deck.
Okay.
And yeah, you're right. We don't have the cueing function. But if we imagine how Bad Brain starts. Okay. But we don't want to just like layer that on top of. That might be a little bit too intense. How many bars until the vocals come in?
I think it's 4, isn't it?
Is it 4? Yeah, I kind of forget. It's either 4 or 8. So you could try to loop maybe. Man, you don't even know about looping, dude.
Well, I actually do a little bit because before I got I did get one CD. It wasn't the Pioneer CDJ. It was like a Denon. Because I didn't really have any vinyl, so I had one Denon, and then I used that, and that's all I had. But you could like loop it, and then you could eject the CD, and while the thing was looping, you put another one and like queued it up. So it was awful because it took forever, and you were like trying to, you know, you had to get the loop exactly right and all that stuff. So it was a pain in the butt.
So one thing we could do is we could get the piano concerto going on from the beginning, and then maybe loop that intro and do some tonal things with a filter effect.
That's what I would probably do too. Yeah.
All right. So check it out on your left deck. If you press in, that's going to be the in loop point, and then you can press play and it'll play. And then when you want it to stop looping, you hit the out and it'll go back to the beginning and do that. So, on the left deck for Bad Brains.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so we're gonna do a loop of this first?
Yeah. Well, no, you could get going. You could get the piano concerto going first, and then bring in that loop.
Okay.
And you know about the whole mixer section. You've got that on yours.
Yeah. And there's this whole thing where the ocarinas just take forever getting going. Maybe we should.
Yeah, if you want to skip ahead, you can do shift and then that button. It'll go 4 bars ahead. Whatever bars means. And actually, I'm going to move your play ahead to be right at the beginning of the track. If you look up on the... Yeah, there you go. Great.
Do it again.
So so that started the in. Now you press play to get it going, and press the out when you want the loop to stop. Okay. Now. Cool. So turn that loop off if you don't like that.
No, I'm
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then you could also double it, man. See where that says in by half, out by 2x? You can double the loop. You can...
So I press that again and
it'll double it, yeah. Boom, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Now you can do some filter effects.
Okay. And that's on channel 1?
Yeah,
sorry.
channel 1 is Bad Brains. Press filter.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Yep, cool. And then you can use this to sort of, that's just to be like a low pass, high pass.
Okay, then I can clear that probably, right?
Yeah, and if you want, you mean clear it, like get out of the loop, or get out of the filter. To get out of the filter, you just turn it to Unity, and it goes to nothing. Yeah, exactly.
To get out of the loop?
Yeah, then you just press that loop, the 4 button.
That one?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's going to keep going.
And then can I clear that? How do I do that?
Oh, it's not looped right now, so it's fine.
Okay.
So you could just press play, and you're
Right.
Shift Q to go back.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Nice, man. Look at you.
Oh, that's right. You have to press hard.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, not like vinyl.
And then can I get some like reverb on this?
Yeah,
Can I
man.
do
So
that?
what you do here, so you turn this to reverb,
Okay, got it.
and then you're going to want to turn this to channel 1. So now I know that it's on channel 1. And when you're ready to turn that on, press that blue button.
Okay.
And if you want more, that's your dry and wet. Nice, man. Nice. And, okay, how are we going to end this? We can't just press stop.
Okay, yeah.
There's an effect in there, but yeah, exactly. I guess you can't do that on digital.
Good old fade out.
Yeah, good old fade out. Okay, cool, man.
Right on. Well, that's the first.
Yeah. Hopefully not. I kind of like that, man.
Some of it was pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, very genre different. But
Yeah.
I don't think actually all that different in terms of like aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was very serious, right? We were just talking about very serious music, doing serious aesthetic things with it. One thing about the saxophone, unlike a lot of other instruments that are here within this building, is the instrument, like, it's more popular in jazz than it is in classical.
Absolutely.
Do you think there's more jazz sax professors than there are? That can't be true.
That's a good question. I'd say there might be slightly more jazz. No, I mean, sorry, slightly more classical, I think.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
What about saxophone and popular music?
Well, that's the thing, is that the instrument has been super successful in multiple genres, of course, including pop music. So, yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, yes.
Okay, that's good. Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, yeah.
Let's jump ahead to the sax solo.
Sounds like yakety sax almost.
Well, speaking of which, man, I looked up the history of yakety sax, dude.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty good history.
I bet.
Yeah. Do you know anything about yakety sax?
It was the Benny Hill show.
Benny Hill. That's what popularized it.
Before that,
It came out 8 years prior, and it topped like top 20 on the charts when it came out.
Wow.
Anyway, here's Boots Randolph playing sax on yakety sax.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, I don't think this is a bad piece of music.
No, I don't think so either. In fact, this is one of the ones that I've like. I every time I hear, I'm like, I gotta learn that. I gotta learn that lick or whatever. Because I know the Careless Whisper one, but
why is it such a joke?
Which one?
Like all of it. No, yakety sax, people get their laws out on yakety sax, but I think they even get their laws out on Careless Whisper. I know you're not the kind of person that's going to be like, oh, that's legitimate music. That's not. So I know you're not going to have that opinion.
Right.
But why is it that saxophone is legit in jazz? It's by almost everybody's opinion legit in the classical world.
Yeah.
But in popular music, it's goofy.
It has been. I mean, it's also. I mean, you think of like Billy Joel. You know, Phil Woods playing on Billy Joel's album. There's been a lot of great, you know, pop jazz saxophone solos. I think that there's those ones that have just become sort of punchlines. You know.
Yeah.
So like if you're doing a funny like chase scene or something like that, like you're gonna play yakety sax or something similar.
Yeah, I can't think of anything about this track that is like punchline chasing, but I guess Benny Hill just did that. That one choice.
This one's a little more refined, I would say, than I feel like some other versions I've heard, but like it's usually faster, right? They play it faster.
Could be. This is the original studio
This is the
recording,
original
I
one.
believe 1963,
Okay.
according to my notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's been used in so many like funny scenes, and like people just equate, that with humor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which is fine.
right.
I just think that it's a little bit disrespectful, this track. It's a great track.
We should be able to have fun in all kinds of music too. I think in contemporary music especially, the first time I heard something that was humorous, I was like, oh yeah, why shouldn't we have that too? It could be funny, right? Why
Yeah,
shouldn't it be?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, don't look at the screen, but here's my favorite song with a sax solo in it of all time.
okay.
I should say of pop music.
Oh yeah.
Do you know this tune?
It's gonna take me a second.
The sax solo happens at the very end, which I really appreciate. Like the whole thing builds up, and then the song ends on a sax solo, which is a strong choice.
Is there vocals in this? There is,
Yes.
right? There are the vocals, maybe I remember. I know the song. Oh dang! I don't think I do, but I've heard this song many times.
Yeah, that's okay. This isn't like a quiz show, but here, let's go ahead to the sax solo.
Okay.
Man, just the emotion after 3 minutes of that just escalating of the textures,
Oh yeah.
and then you come in with that sax solo,
What
and
could
he
be
goes in
better?
the upper register here. Built-in fade out on this track.
So what's the band?
This is M83's Midnight City.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. I forget the year on this, like 2011, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I miss an awesome song that has a sax solo on it?
Well, so I've got a neighbor friend of mine who is so this, like, while this music was going on, I was into this other stuff, right? This more heavy stuff. And so I was like, I don't need need to know about that. But he turned me on to, I think it's Morphine, band Morphine, that has like a bass sax or two bass saxes in it or something like that. And I had heard of them, and I like had listened to maybe one song, but he's into this, yeah, like music of that era that was like kind of underground rock. But I mean, I wasn't having that back then. I was like, if it doesn't, if I can't, mosh to it, I don't care, sort of thing.
Hey man, how do we blend
But
these?
it's really good.
Yeah.
I've heard it recently. I'm like, oh man, I really missed out on some good stuff. Yeah.
How do you blend these two things?
What's up?
Like, yeah, you want to mosh to it, but also you're a classical saxophonist,
right?
Where do we get the saxophone mosh music?
So I think it comes in fits and starts. So when I was like getting into my teaching career, I think I played this piece by this composer named Alex Minchek, and he's now one of the composition professors at my alma mater, Northwestern. And Alex is a still a saxophonist, but he was like studying to become a jazz saxophonist actually at University of North Florida, studying with Bunky Green. Then he transferred up to Manhattan, studied with Dick Oates. So the guy can obviously play, right? And he then wanted to become a composer, and he had a hard time being accepted as both within the confines of Manhattan, is what he told me. And then he eventually decided that he was going to go full into composition, and ended up studying with George Lewis at Columbia, I believe. And so no one was, we played this, one of my quartet mates in H2 and I played this tenor duet called Karate. And it was like really hard edged, and like was supposed to sort of depict a battle. Not really, but there was sort of, these parts were like mirroring each other's movements and stuff like that. And no one was playing this music, and I was like, this piece is really cool. And so I found out that there was like another piece or so that he had written, and so I went and interviewed him, and he told me that his background in jazz, and that he had gotten into all these avant-garde improvisers like Evan Parker, Roscoe Mitchell, and that stuff was like a revelation to me, because most classical saxophonists have absolutely no idea about those guys. And they're basically, if you're into new music and are a saxophonist, they're doing basically what we do within the avant-garde in the classical world, except they're just making it up. Like they've developed this language on their own, and it's, improvised in the moment. Whereas we have it like written down basically, So I started listening to some of that stuff. And I think, I don't know if I want to call it violence, but it's at least a release of energy, that is visceral, and it's all over that music. And, so a lot of the music not all the music that I play, but a lot of it has some of that in there. And I feel like that's maybe the link, what I would say. That was a long answer. Sorry.
No, that was great, man. I really appreciate that. I want to talk about your...
Actually, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
So one of Alex's early groups was a group called Z's, which I think he would enjoy. And I think they're still around. I'm not sure, but he had been a member of that band at the beginning. And the band it was a band. It was two tenor saxophonists. I hope I'm getting this right. There was two tenor saxophonists, two bassists or electric guitarists, and two drum set players. But they were playing composed music, but they were playing it in clubs. And you can go on, there's like early YouTube videos of them playing at the Zinc or something like that in New York. And it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a mathcore chamber music.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it.
But like contextually in like a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking of like your Quartet H2, based on the website, seems to be dedicated to promoting new music, right? That's, important for saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
What is the range of expression that you think people are out there doing with exciting music on saxophone? Is it all the violent, angry stuff? But
no.
What excites you as a member of that orchestra? Member of that ensemble.
Oh yeah. Well, For me with H2, it's really about the time that we've spent together and how well we understand each other. And I feel like we can usually play just about anything at an extremely high level and with a connection that I don't really feel with. I mean, as many good ensembles as I've gotten to play with, and I've got some really good other ones that I play with right now that are also amazing. But it's so easy with H2 because we have played for so long, so we can play like really crazy out there stuff, but we've tended to kind of go, I would say, like a little bit more traditionally, just, pieces with really beautiful melodies and beautiful harmonies, but, not, not transcriptions. We're not playing string quartets. We're playing like modern stuff. So it's more about the connection that the ensemble has on stage and our ability to express ourselves in whatever music we decide to pick up than anything genre specific, I would say.
So that's because of the individual's facility on the instrument, your amount of time
Partially.
playing with each other.
More the second.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There is apparently somebody else in that quartet named Geoffrey.
Indeed.
Whose name is spelled correctly. He spells his with a J.
You would say so. Yep.
Yeah. So is your name better than Geoffrey's?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And he would disagree with you.
Probably.
Okay. I just want to point out up there, man, the way that you wrote your name right there looks metal as fuck.
I used to scribble that on my notebooks in high school.
Of course you did, man. I did the same thing.
It looked better back then.
When I was in middle school, I likened myself as a skater, and so I did SP for skater punks, and the S was just like that same style, That's a particular innovation that comes about in middle school, is like learning how to do that version of an S.
Right.
Anyway, Geoffrey in your quartet, he can't do that. There's something about the 5 letters and the O that really gives you that, and the G, man. It's like, okay, here's what it is. It's the amount of circles in your name that you've turned into angles. That's aggressive.
Yeah.
Jeff, just by itself, Jeff, is like already 2 squared.
Yeah.
And
it sounds soft too.
It does. Yeah, exactly. The G, even though it's pronounced like indistinguishably, there's something about it that's just like a little bit more in your face.
Yeah.
Because the G.
I would like to think so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to try to get you on the spot for a few questions here,
Okay.
and you can pass, or you can answer them and get in trouble.
Okay.
First question is, what's a secret about your job that outsiders would be surprised to know about?
Ooh, secret. Man, I got to think about that. We're not making the big bucks. I don't know.
What do you mean? You're at the top of your field.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel taken care of here for sure. But God, I don't know what to say. What would you say?
I'd say it's probably that, and mixed in with the mundane. I mean, you're a little bit different than me in the sense that you're a performer, right? Like you have billings.
Sure.
I don't have that. But regardless, you're a freaking professor. Like, you got to log into the whatever system, and don't forget to do your,
I would say, so I don't know how much of a secret it is, honestly, but our assignment of responsibility, I would say, while it is shrunk, like the percentages, it should be like 80, 40, 30.
That doesn't add up to 100, man.
Exactly. That is true. And most of the 80 is the teaching.
Yeah.
And so, like I don't get to perform or practice nearly as much as I want. And I'm always behind on emails. And it's just like, it just takes a lot of work to try and just stay on top of things, like stay organized. I don't know if that's a secret or not.
No, yeah, maybe not a secret, but there is a tension there, which is like, you're here because you're deeply passionate about music and your instrument and making music with your instrument.
Right.
And you're constantly being taken, and you're also passionate about teaching, but you're unable to do this thing that brought you here in the first place as much as you want to.
As much as I want.
Because you're doing this other thing. Right. And then even worse than that, because like mentoring undergrads is almost always joyful.
Yep.
Responding to emails is almost never joyful, but like that's a big part of the job.
Yep.
Yeah. And so maybe that's not a secret. It's that exists in like probably almost every industry, except that it's this thing that you want to do that brings you so much joy that you're constantly being prevented from doing because you're doing something really stupid. You know, versus like if you're in sales or something, you're not like, oh man, I can't wait to make that phone call to that customer. If only I didn't have to respond and do this TPS report. But now it's like you want to make music, but you can't because you got to do the friggin' TPS report.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. If somebody had to roast you, what's the one thing that they would absolutely bring up?
That I'm a fancy person, I would say.
Oh, a little dilettante.
My partner likes to remind me of that.
Okay, what would they bring up as an example of?
Well, just I enjoy good food and good wine, and I try not to be stupid about my habits or whatever. But I think and I like nice things, as much as the next person.
No, apparently not. Apparently more than the next person, according to your partner.
But like, I think partially that comes from my dad would be like, oh, if you're going to buy a product, you should get probably the best you can get because you don't want to just have to constantly replace the crappy one. Right. So I think that's partly where it comes from.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. What's your go-to karaoke song?
I don't really have one.
Are you not a singer, man?
I mean, I maybe Take On Me or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm almost tempted to pull that up and have.
You can go to the next question. Okay. I do like to sing, actually, but yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay, what's one opinion you have about your field that would get you canceled?
Oh, that. Oh man, I would say, well, maybe that classical saxophone doesn't exist. That's maybe slightly controversial, I would say.
Or is that a cool opinion to have now? Would some people be upset about it?
I don't think most people in my field have probably thought that. Yeah.
Yeah, but yet here you are at Florida State University College of Music, professor of a classical saxophone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the nomenclature, whatever we can. Yeah, we can agree on.
No, I got you. We got the same issue here in music ed.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a well-regarded composer in your field that you just can't get behind?
A well-regarded composer in my field that I just can't get. Oh man, there's so many.
And feel free to name a living composer who will see this online once we post it.
That I just don't like their music?
You can't get behind them. So not just you don't like it, but you're like, a little bit overrated.
God. Man.
You can always skip, or you can name somebody who's dead, so you won't get in trouble.
Okay, that might be easier. I mean, most of the saxophone repertoire. I don't know. Some of it's great, but there's a lot of. I mean, but you could say this about any genre of music. Really, like not everything that Mozart wrote was gold. Like there's a lot of trash there, right?
So you're not saying that saxophone is particularly prone to bad.
I think we have been guilty of missing the boat time and time again. Like the fact that we are an instrument that is known to play contemporary music, you have to ask the people in the 50s and 60s and 70s, why weren't you composing the top classical avant-garde composers in the 50s and 60s? They just didn't. I don't know why. I think they were quite traditional in their tastes, some of them. But what was the question again?
Composed you can't get behind, but your answer is better than the question.
Yeah, I mean,
can I?
But like, I really believe that. I mean, I had a friend, Robert Reinhardt, who I think is still teaching at Northwestern, and I think it's him that said, "I don't like composers, I like pieces." And I think that kind of speaks to that, where it's just like there's a lot of trash out there. Like, not all of it's great. Most of it's not great.
Right.
Some of it's good, and then you've got the real gems that change your life.
Yeah. So if you don't think that the saxophone canon, which
Mhm.
is maybe a silly thing to say, maybe saxophone doesn't have a canon, at least
My doctoral student's writing his dissertation about that right
Oh,
now.
really?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plug to that.
Mhm.
I'd be interested in hearing about that.
Mhm.
Not reading about it. I don't
Right.
want to read hundreds of pages about this,
Fair
but
enough. It won't be hundreds of pages.
okay. Okay. But I'd be down to having a approximately 90-second conversation about it with you
I'll
next
do
year.
my best to, yeah.
What do you teach your students then if there's not a canon?
Well, I think that you teach pieces that have pedagogical value that they can learn to do those technical things. And then alongside that, and this is maybe the thing I need to do better at, is you try and bring them along in understanding the wide breadth of what is out there in the world so that then they can make informed decisions about this is good and here's why. Because most people like will just say, I like it, I don't like it, and that's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop there. There has to be some reason.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah. So developing a sense of critical
Aesthetics.
aesthetic inquiry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's great. Cool. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
What's one piece of advice that you constantly give but never follow?
Ooh, uh, treat your reads well. I'm horrible about my reads. Yeah.
Man, I know nothing about instruments.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the
like
reads.
what could you even do bad to a reed? Like you just put it in your mouth. Like, are you like,
Well, so I'm someone who I'm super lazy when it comes to reads, partially because I get my reads from the company that I have the relationship with for free.
oh
Right?
wow, look at this guy here, fancy.
I mean, that
he said
is-
he was a dilettante.
Right. But I mean, basically, a lot of people have like these really long read break-in processes and they, number them all and blah, blah, blah. And, they go through their reads very carefully. I mean, I do go through my reads carefully when it comes to like like a big performance. I'll like try to find my best one out of all of them. But other than that, I don't do that much. I put it maybe back in the box if I'm traveling, but like I usually forget to take it off at the end of the day, so it's just on my horn. And then when it just craps out, I just go to the. So I always say to my students, "Do as I say, not as I do," because this is not the best way to get the most out of your reads,
Right. Yeah. And they don't have this like,
and it's the most important part of your sound.
okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't have this infinite supply of reeds
That's right.
that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What would you do if you couldn't do this job?
Ooh, definitely been thinking about that. I mean, I would probably, I don't know. I think I might, something with writing, probably. Something with writing, or maybe I might become a farmer or
Heck yeah, man.
something like that.
Yeah. What are you going to farm?
Tomatoes. I like tomatoes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think you farm the thing that you like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think it's
Okay.
like music. Like you got really into saxophone, so then
Yeah.
you ended up doing it.
Yeah.
But I think with farming, you need to not do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Eggplants?
Yeah. If you don't like eggplants, I think that's the way to
Okay.
do it.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you for that. You were saying something earlier about avant-garde composers
Mhm.
in the mid-century
Mhm.
not composing for saxophone.
Right.
Okay, so I'm struck by this one Barrio piece. I'm going
Right.
to play just a little bit of it. First of all, very hip, very fun, very cool.
Mhm.
Why didn't he write this for saxophone?
It's a good question. I think what I've read, it's been a while, but I've read pretty extensively about Barrio. I think that it was intended that he write these sequenzas. This is a set of a group of pieces that he wrote for solo instruments. And I think that he wrote them for all but this doesn't even hold up. I was going to say he wrote them for all the instruments of the orchestra, but he also wrote one for guitar. There's one for voice. I think there's one for piano, right? So
he went out of his way to not write for saxophone.
I don't think that he had anything against the saxophone, and he's actually quoted by so this was later arranged for soprano saxophone, this exact piece, and it's probably the piece I played more than any other piece. And the person that brought this about, whose name is Claude DeLong, used to be the professor at the Paris Conservatory. In the liner notes to the CD that he recorded, has a transcript of a conversation that he had with Barrio, and Barrio apparently says that he liked the saxophone version better than the oboe one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, he did write some music for saxophone. Actually, Barrio wrote there's a Canticum I forget. There's some piece that he wrote for 4 saxophones, 4 clarinets, and 8 voices.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty out there.
Yeah.
And then there's, I think there might be one other piece that he has saxophone in, but like Boulez never wrote for saxophone.
Really?
No. Which is crazy because he's French. Why not?
So here's a theory, and I know nothing about classical music, so I'm just making this up. I think there's something related to social class here and the instrument. When was this piece? Okay, so Sequenza 7 came out in 69.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you know Mad Dog? The composer Mad Dog? Sax Packs for Pax Sax Packs? No, you don't? Okay, I wonder if I can find that. Let me try this. There's no way this is going to be out there. But man, I think you need to hear it though.
Okay.
Here, let's try something really silly, everybody. This is how I'm not yet set up in my studio. Oh man, I said Mad Dog. I meant to say Moon Dog.
Oh, Moondog.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know this. I mean, you must know this for saxophone.
Yeah. I don't think I do.
All right, so the Moondog, I think there's a documentary coming out about him soon. They've been threatening to make this for a while.
Okay.
But he was an avant-garde composer in New York City around this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's from a farming community. I want to say Iowa, but I'm kind of making that up. He moves to New York City to break into the scene, I think in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
He was around during the 50s, the advent of rock and roll, into the 60s, all the way through the 90s, actually. But he's famous because, well, for a lot of reasons, but he's mentioned in like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because there was like the predecessor to Casey Kasem.
Okay.
His name was Moondog.
Oh.
And so at the growth of rock and roll, a radio station in New York started a rock and roll show, and they had Moondog coming up there going, "Ow!" coming at you from W whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Moondog, and it's probably important to say that for much of his life in New York City, he was voluntarily homeless. So they call him the Viking of 6th Avenue, and he was just like living in some boxes on 6th Avenue. And he was like, "Hey man, I'm Moondog. You can't also be Moondog doing this thing." And I think it was a CBS radio station was like, "No, you're just some homeless dude like on the street." And he's like, "Yeah, so I'm going to take you to court. And I'm going to bring in Leonard Bernstein as my character witness because Bernstein has conducted some of his stuff at Carnegie Hall." Anyway, I mean, Moondog's just like a fun character, and I've always wanted to know more about him and how he came to be. There's some background. There's like he grew up on a farm, but then he was blinded in a dynamite accident.
Okay.
And then he ended up going to like a school for the deaf and blind that was maybe affiliated with like residential schooling. So then he got like really knowledgeable about just like indigenous stuff. And he invented all sorts of instruments that were sort of, he was really into rhythmic motifs, I think in part through some interaction that he had with Native Americans.
Okay.
Yeah. He built a lot of instruments. Anyway, sorry for that little segue about Moondog there. Super fascinating guy. He was writing a lot for saxophone. Saxophone is probably the instrument that he wrote the most for, apart from percussion.
Okay.
That was his most famous piece. That wasn't his most famous one. His most famous one is Sax Pax for something.
Okay.
So people were writing for it, but as evidenced by this story of him, some of his piece was debuted at Carnegie Hall. It's not as though he was in the avant-garde scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as though he was legitimated through whatever that like high culture industry is.
Right.
These other individuals were a part of that high culture.
Mm.
And I'm wondering, this seems totally outlandish for me because saxophone seems like an entirely legitimate instrument for, and it's been around for a really long time.
Right.
But are some of these people not wanting to write for saxophone because some sort of like perceived sense of instrumental class, the oboe?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's true. Yeah. I mean, because, I still come across every once in a while, I come across like a classical musician, like a professional musician that doesn't like jazz. I don't get it, or blah, blah, blah. Like they're just it's ridiculous. I just happened like not too long ago. I met someone that said this, and I was just like, and they thought that we would be on board because we were like so-called classical musicians. I was like, no, I love jazz, and yeah, but I think there's partly that, and then also the saxophone does have a history in vaudeville music in the U.S. It was extensively used by groups like the Brown Brothers that would, dress up in blackface and clown costumes, and the saxophone they all played the saxophone in this saxophone ensemble in the 1920s.
So even before yakety sax,
yeah,
the saxophone was being like joked around and played with.
Yep. So how aware were people of that in the 50s? I don't know, maybe partially, but I think it's probably, people saw jazz as like not as high music, lower music of the, not the upper classes. I think you're right about that.
Right.
For sure. But also in New York, since you bring up New York, there was definitely like what's known as the uptown scene, the downtown scene. Have you heard about that?
No.
Okay. So like in New York, and I don't know how there's maybe not that much of a divide anymore, but in the 80s, probably in the 70s, I don't know when this was a phenomenon, but the uptown scene was all of the, Columbia, the institutions of higher learning, where all of the like really, intellectual avant-garde music was being written. And then the downtown scene, we've actually got a group coming for the New Music Festival in the spring called Bang on a Can All-Stars. And that was the downtown scene, which was much more pop influenced and funkier, groovier, kind of, minimalism, Steve Reich, the whole thing. Right. Mm-hmm. So there was that divide too. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And there's still kind of, in a way there's like a lot of, new music, and saxophone is kind of poppy, kind of, that sort of music. And then there's just the more hard edged stuff that's different.
Yeah. Right on. Yep. I want to get into some music for maybe our second and last sort of like DJ set here. Like we talked about, a lot of these tracks are related aesthetically. The track that I kind of wanted to break out now is, Come Together would like be, I feel like we should definitely do that just because that intro riff is so good. But that's not the one that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up Smell the Bacon. Smell the Bacon. What's with you? So here, let's go ahead and get into our next scene here. Yeah, if you want to come over here. All right, so and then maybe let's attempt this. Let's listen to I don't know if we're going to put this a super French pronunciation on this. Masse Critique.
Masse Critique.
Masse Critique.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a listen to this for just a little bit. Okay. Make sure the volume is not too loud.
All right.
Okay, let me ask you, why'd you select this tune?
I think it's one of the cooler things I've heard in the last 5 or I can't remember when I first heard this, but I've got a percussionist friend who's also into new music, who's also a metalhead up in New York. His name is Dennis, and he knows a lot more metal than I do, because I really haven't kept up at all with metal, so I don't really know what's out there now. But he had told me about this album. He's like, check out this album, this album. I listened to this first song. I was just like, holy crap, this is different than anything else I've ever heard. Because there's like this kind of synthesized
Drone sound.
drone thing, and then there's like this free jazz drumming thing going on in the back. Dissonance. And it's really epic sounding. And I think they bill themselves as like a black metal band. Which is much, the rest of the album, some of it sounds more like conventional black metal, but this is, and then at the end, like, of this track, I don't need to listen to the whole thing.
I don't think I have. I must have.
It goes into this, like, it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's just very different than anything I've ever heard, and it really took me.
Okay, let's skip to that ending to see what.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, right.
This thing. That's just this total noise, and the guy's like doing whatever in the background.
I love it, man. Yeah. I love it. So like all of this stuff is so disparate genre-wise, but it seems very connected. Like you just fucking love hardcore, man. That's.
I mean, I think what it all has in common is it gets, it's visceral to me. Like, it has something about it that I don't know. I feel like it all really means what it says.
Hey, can I read you a quote?
Sure.
This is Ligeti speaking about his piano concerto. I present my artistic credo in the piano concerto. I demonstrate my independence from criteria of the traditional avant-garde, as well as the fashionable postmodernism. Musical illusions, which I consider to be also so important, are not a goal in itself for me, but a foundation for my aesthetical attitude. There's a sentence that he says after this that I apparently forgot to copy, but he's talking about like he it sounds like he wants to live through the phenomenology of just like rich texture, and he wants to experience it divorced from concepts of genre, and we can hear that in the piano concerto. And this track kind of seems to be a little bit like that too. Just heaviness. Like there was double bass pedal going on the drum set, but it was mostly like free, even though it had some of these elements. And so we're more going for an aesthetic statement than we are trying to create within the confines of genre.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. Okay, so we've got that track. Let's see if we can do something with that, and maybe Beatles Come Together, and maybe Smell the Bacon.
Okay.
So let's listen to Smell the Bacon.
Oh, this is like that. This is like the newer version. You can't get the old version. Yeah.
What? So you don't like that version?
There's an earlier version. I thought I don't think you can find, like, you can't find it anymore. But there's an earlier version. So like, this is a band called Madball that was one of the first kind of like what you could call like a newer school hardcore band, where like they really had that like more metally, like not out of tune guitar sound, heavier drums, all that stuff. And the singer for this band, Freddie Christian, I think that's how you say his name, was the younger, not the younger, was he? Younger brother of a singer for a band called Agnostic Front, who's one of like the seminal hardcore bands. And basically, Roger, who's the singer of that band, we would bring Freddie like to these shows when he was like 11, and he would then hand the kid the mic, and he would like sometimes sing an Agnostic Front song, and then they just started doing their own songs. So there's an earlier recording of that same song where Freddie is, you know, like 13 or 14, and it's really much more raw than that, and I really think it's cool. And I just, that album I was obsessed with when I was in high school. So
Oh, right on. Yeah. So why did you choose this track then? Is it because of that connection to your youth and
Yeah, definitely. I was really into that album, and I still like gravitate. Like there's, you know, hardcore nowadays, if you listen to bands that are called hardcore, it's like, it sounds just like metal. It doesn't sound like hardcore at all. Like this has got like one foot in both worlds, like more metally, but also just like that, you know, there's that blast beat thing at the end kind of. It's not really blast beat, but you know, it's like faster thing. And so like that old school thing is something that I always just like, I much prefer that than just super clean metally thing where everyone's hitting harmonics and it's all, you know, nice and tidy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about ideology.
Oh, it's also like, I mean, the title is like, you know, cops.
Yeah.
Stop messing with people.
Right. So and that seems to be something that's like pretty predominant in hardcore. I mean, it's not always about police. It's about, you know, any other time.
Yeah, anybody. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there something about that sort of like punk hardcore ethos that speaks to you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I would think I was so interested in it, was just, you know, I guess not feeling a certain I had moved schools too, like in the middle, between middle school and high school. And so I had to and I never really got along with the kids that were the place I moved to, you know? And you know, I was like the angsty, I was getting in fights in middle school and I got suspended, all this stuff. And, you know, and I think, yeah, there's that thing where it's just like, it's about uplifting yourself, fighting against, you know, whatever authority's trying to keep you from doing what you want to do. Yeah, of course. I think anybody can relate to that.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
Okay, now we've got Beatles Come Together.
Okay.
And I think everybody listening to this will certainly know this track. Yeah. But this intro, man, perfect for a loop. Yeah. All right, so what's musically useful about this track for a DJ?
Oh, the drums, for sure. The drums. There's a nice like bottom end to it.
Totally. I know I probably showed you this before, but you can stem things out now.
Oh yeah, you did show me that, but I wouldn't know how to do it. All right, got it.
Yeah, so vocals are gone.
Can you? Right.
It's kind of good.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, it's just like a little echo of it.
Yeah, so like you could get this as like, yeah, a bed underneath. Okay, so what do we want to come together with?
Ooh.
And you don't have to choose the ones that I was pointing to right there. You could do something else. Like that The Books Smells Like Content was a pretty fun track to listen to.
Yeah. The Books is great.
Also Cannibal Ox.
Oh,
that might also be good.
That'd
this little
be
bass line.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, cool. So here, let me teach you how to do it. Go ahead and twist that little big black knob there, and then press down. It's going to load it up on your left deck. So now you got Cannibal Ox on your left deck. You got Beatles on the right deck. I'll go ahead and stop this.
Right. Oops. Fast forward to past the intro.
Dude, you're such a quick learner.
Sometimes I think I'm getting a little frosty myself. My sound, mechanical found gold, but my ghetto is animal found toad. My sound, mechanical found gold, but my ghetto is
What you?
my sound, mechanical found gold, but my ghetto is animal found toad. Animal found toad.
Hold on. Oops, I went to the wrong thing.
Oh yeah. Sorry, if you did shift plus something else. Yeah,
My bad.
you got it. Yeah, pull and come together. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, and if you don't want to do the in-out loop thing, if you trust where the beat grids are, you can actually just press that and it'll give you a 1-bar loop.
Oh, okay.
Life's ill. Sometimes life might kill. For the mega 5 digits, grab mic.
You have to wait till
It's life real. I
feel
feel
good
life feel
too.
like earth don't spin. Whirlwinds might blend. Life's at a standstill. Dangerous cause man kills and still. Cats visualize life ghetto like one line. Sometimes these cats see life street like incomplete light and be like I'ma live life after this one crime. One line from the megalo blow spine. Everyone knows the city's ill. Cats kill still. Black man holds nine. Gotta chill star. Your law be the light of Shamar. Work hard Shamar. See cipher law. Adapt bars, snatch stars and detach large channels. But a bars handle might break mics. For the megalo the cannibal 8 mics. Strive, live, fly, fuck 5. I want 108 mics.
Yeah, so you could definitely work with like that.
What
that vocal sample in there. Easy.
And what about taking vocals off?
That's good. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? All right. Yep. Too fast.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so hard to find the
Yeah.
sample on this.
So you can pay attention to that needle. You see how it's got like the digital needle in the middle. Yeah, the timing's just like a little bit off. That sounds dope.
Yeah. But that'd be super easy to.
Yeah.
Big worms, early birds, and poachers. New York is evil.
Yeah, so this is when I got into like underground hip hop in college. This is an album that was like really
Nice, man.
If anyone knows Run the Jewels,
Yeah.
this was LP's, not his first album. His first group was called Company Flow. And this is like the next big thing of his was this album. Cannibal Ox.
Yeah. Nice, man. Yeah. I think you're right. That would be really good because you can get the original track and then sort of take a pause on the verses to do something else. What's it like playing with these platters?
So hard. So hard. Because like, you know, on vinyl, it's like, you know exactly, like as soon as you put, it's something about the pressure that I just haven't quite figured out yet.
Yeah, you got to press a lot more.
Yeah, and so it would take me a while to figure that out. I'm sure you could probably change that too, right?
No, not really. You
No?
can change the tension of how much you have to spin, but it's not the pressure down. And then of course other turntables like Tractor has a whole series that's motorized, so the platter's spinning the whole time too.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, just to kind of get that simulation.
Yeah. I mean, to prove that I don't suck as a DJ, I do have an Instagram where I have some blends that I that I do. So
Oh heck yeah, man!
see.
Let's do some shout outs here.
Sure,
Let's
yeah.
what's your DJ at?
Well, it's just my Instagram.
Oh, it's on
account,
yours.
so
Okay.
just at Jeff Deibel. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been wonderful chatting.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, this first format, it's a little bit cheating having you in here because you already, I didn't
Well,
have to.
it's not obvious from what you just saw.
I know, but it's not like I had to be like, okay, here's the platter, press play. Like
Yeah.
you kind of get that.
Yeah.
Anything else before we go? Anything you want to plug?
Ooh,
You got a book coming out?
I don't have any book. I would like to do a book, but that's not what I do. Man, I mean, buy my solo CD. I still have CDs. No one listens to CDs anymore.
Yeah,
so,
right.
yeah. Actually, I owe one of my students. My students did buy one, and I need to bring it for them. So
See, look at that. Look at it. Even when somebody
my
wants to
fault.
buy them, you won't even get rid of them. Yeah, where does somebody buy CDs now?
I'm on Bandcamp.
Heck yeah.
Because I don't want to give any money to the evil corporate overlords. So yeah, I'm on Bandcamp under my name, and they can get it there, digital format or CD copy.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Well, great. Thanks, man. Let me go ahead and switch. Oh, I don't have an outro scene yet, so I'm just gonna have to go to the other scene, and it's gonna say stream will start shortly. Thank you to what did our stream count get up to today? We got one current viewer. I'll click in just a moment to see what our total max number of viewers were. But thank you for this, Jeff. Here we go.